Hi, my name is Lou Gendron Marsolais, and in this lightning talk, I will present you some of my results on bentjet radio galaxies. So bentjet radio galaxies are normal radio galaxy, but as they move through a cluster of galaxy or as they encounter strong intracluster medium motion, what happens is that their jets are going to be bent by ram pressure. Historically, we've been classifying these sources simply based on the degree of bending of the jets. But recent advances in sensitivity of low radio frequency facilities have revealed complex and unusual structure in these sources that really challenge the current classification that we have. Now, one of the best places, I think, to study these sources is the Perseus cluster because it's so near from us. And so over the last years, I've been working on deep multi-scale low radio frequency observation of this cluster using the VLA. Now, despite the presence of this very bright central source, 3C84, that kind of tend to outshine all of the faint emission next to it, we've been able to reach a sufficiently high dynamic range and reveal new structure associated with 4 bentjet radio galaxies inside this cluster. Now, I only have time to present results on one of them, which is NGC 1272. So our recent 1.5 gigahertz observation have resolved part of that diffuse central emission, the mini halo, into a complex extension of the bentjet of this galaxy. It is likely that the electrons coming from that galaxy are responsible for part of the mini halo emission. And so the possibility that bentjet radio galaxies could contribute to the non-thermal diffuse component inside cluster may be a general phenomenon. Now, we suggest different interpretation to explain the structures that we're seeing in this tail. First, we think that we could be capturing this galaxy as it is turning around on its orbit through the cluster. And that would explain the fact that we see these bentjets kind of projected in front of the rest of the tail. Second, we note this interesting similarity between the structure and a Corman vortex street, which is this repetition of swirling vortices that we observe in nature on various scales. So if the electrons of this galaxy are following the wake of the galaxy inside the cluster and form these kind of vortices, then that would give us an important constraint on the transport coefficient of the intracluster medium. And finally, we suggest that perhaps the passage of that galaxy through a discontinuity inside the intracluster medium, this cold front here, could be responsible for the transition between the collimated jets and the more diffuse part of the tail. So overall, with such detailed observation, there's now a lot more that we have to understand about bentjet radio galaxy, but I hope that one day we will be able to use them as probe to study clusters of galaxies. So feel free to contact me if you've been inspired by those observations and if you want to help me understand these sources.